Hello, it's Yvonne here to do the readings for the earth signs, and we're going to start this with the lovely sign of Virgo. Virgo, it's your turn, you're up. First off, we're going to use the Modern Witch Tarot for your reading. Secondly, I want to say a big thank you for supporting me on the channel, and for those who subscribed, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you on board. Please make sure you press the bell underneath so you'll be reminded when I go live or when I'm posting new readings. The one thing I always say with readings is make sure, and I do have a video on the front of my readings talking about how to determine whether a reading is for you and what you can take away from the reading. As much as we like to put timing on our reading, it's very, very difficult. But sometimes the reading just doesn't resonate with you, and that's okay. It's like you know straight away that it's not your reading. For some reason, some people still try to make it fit their circumstance. So I would say to you, if it doesn't feel good in the beginning, give up on it. Some readers say you may pick up something from the reading by watching it. That's entirely up to you. But if it doesn't feel like your story, then it's not your reading. You'll know when it feels comfortable. You have an intuition. Please use it. If the reading does resonate with you, however, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and help me to grow the channel. Okay, we have some lively cards. You're going through some sort of transformation here. I feel that you've had some sort of breakdown with somebody who could be a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, and I feel that it's set you into a whole new realm of who you are as a person. So let's have a look what's going on. It's a funny split, but I'll go with it. All right, Eight of Pentacles. Now, the Eight of Pentacles is a card of putting work into something. And I'm feeling like here you've either been in a situation or a relationship where you felt a lot of love for someone and you may have put in a lot of work, but I feel like it's gone pear-shaped somehow here. So either this person has walked away after you've invested a lot of time and energy. Maybe you thought they were in it for the long haul, but somehow or another I feel, yeah, see, we're moving away from a situation. There were a lot of lessons here learned, but what I'm feeling more than anything is there is a change coming for you now. Now it's sort of got this sort of energy of twin flame here. So what I feel like is sometimes when people come together, they trigger each other because they reflect back to each other some really deep wounds. It can be childhood wounds or wounds from past relationships. And it is really hard to understand sometimes why these sort of situations happen, but they are there for us to understand who we are and how to work with those energies. Now, sometimes when we're triggered, we go into denial and we try to deny that we have no pain and we cover it up again, but it becomes cumulative harm and eventually has to come out. So what I feel like here is that you've invested a lot of time and energy into someone who has pulled away from you because you've both reflected triggers back to each other. Now, there seems to be time out required. Now, I always say it's not about a trigger. Think of this as being some sort of lesson you needed to learn. Not necessarily from the person, but maybe for things that you've brought up for yourself. So you may have got angry with them for doing something, but it may not really be that you were angry with them. You might have been angry with the last person who did that, but you've not learned to let that go. So what starts to happen is you start to become insecure, and then you feel the defense. You feel that defensiveness kicking in. So what you start to do is you start to fight against the energy, which creates arguments between the two of you. Now, ideally, what you would do is you would say to them, hey, that just triggered me. I'm feeling really awful about that. Can we talk about it? And then you would talk it through and go your own ways. But what's happened here is I feel like this has thrown you, look at this, this has thrown you into disappointment, heartache, sadness. Definitely feeling that you have had a strong connection to somebody here who has come into your life to awaken you to some sort of energy. Now, what I see here with this Five of Pentacles is this person may have left you out in the cold. You may have been ghosted. If you hurt this person bad enough through your own triggers. And I can relate to this because I can remember years ago having a really strong connection to somebody that I really liked. And when they triggered in me, I started really fighting against them. I was really angry with them because they'd awoken me. I was really angry with them because I was feeling all this stuff and they closed down on me. They left me, they ghosted me. And I remember for weeks afterwards wondering why that had happened to me. I was angry, I was bitter, I was writing messages to him all the time going, why did you do this? This wasn't fair. And then I started to get really emotional about it all. And when I hit that emotional wall, I started to realize that actually some of those things were my own and I needed to take responsibility for those. I couldn't take responsibility for their feelings, but I needed to take responsibility for my own. So instead of becoming angry and jealous, I started to work on myself. I started to ask myself, what was it that had happened here and how could I understand that better so that I could become a better person? And as I was doing that, I started to release that person. I started to release the attachment. I started to release that person. Now, it's been a few years now, so I'm in a much better place. I understand why that person triggered things in me because obviously I was very unhealed. I had to do a lot of work around my childhood, my younger years, understanding who I was as a person and what parts of me I wasn't showing to the world. So I did do an incredible amount of work. When the star comes out here, I realize that a lot of the work you will be doing here will help you move forward to a better future. Whether it is with or without this person is not relevant because you will get to a place where you start to feel very comfortable with yourself. The star card says this is part of your destiny. It was meant to happen at this time. Whatever this person stirred up within you has now been healed in the star. So you're starting to move on here. And then in comes this new offer. You've got somebody coming in here with the truth. Now, if this has worked the way the universe intends, then this particular person would have experienced the same things. They would have gone away. They would have looked at their anger, their disappointment, their jealousy, whatever it was, and they would have worked on their own triggers. Now, if they've done what it was intended, then this person is very likely coming back here with this sword to speak their truth. It may be, I understood what happened. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, this will be a relationship that will go forward. If you're both healed, you might not feel the same way about each other. But what it does say to me here with the Queen of Swords is ultimately you have the upper hand in this situation. If you wanted to continue with this, you could. But I'm not really sure you want to if you've gone that way and you've healed yourself. So, okay, this is the energy we're letting go of when we're in these situations. This is the energy that does not serve us. It's the looking back at the past and revisiting. We used to talk about post-morteming something. You know, keep going over the death of something, seeing if you can find a new reason for why it died or a new reason for why it happened. But what you need to do is you need to look forward, because behind you here, you have 2 cups, which says to me there is something more beautiful waiting in your future, but it won't come in for you all the time you have your back turned to it and you're focused on the past. So there's definitely a big lesson for you there. You're living in your past here, and the universe is trying to say to you, living in your past won't work. There is definitely a love offer coming forward for you here that you need to be ready for with the 2 of Pentacles. Some balance needs to happen, but there is stability in this situation. I feel like somebody's coming in here to offer you something. Actually, it's really interesting because the 2 of Pentacles falls between the 2 knights. And I feel like here with this 2 of Pentacles, there's an energy of not trusting new love here. Now, if this is this person returning, and I'll work that out, it is possible here that you don't trust the love you're being offered, because the fact you've now built this stability within yourself, and you may not trust that this person is stable enough for you to move forward with. And I often hear people say, well, I hope he's coming correct. And I say, well, the way to get him coming correct is to make sure you're showing up correct. Because if you're not showing up correct, this person's not coming in correct. Because you're only going to vibrate in the vibration of the person that you are, not the person they are going to be. So in healing yourself, you heal other people. We know that. We know that that is an energy we send out to the universe. So there is a definite energy here of you bringing mind and body and spirit into balance. This means that instead of thinking from your logical mindset, you're able to think from your heart space and your mind in conjunction. If you're thinking only from the heart space, then you will miss really relevant red flags. You will miss things that you're not supposed to miss. But if you're using your mind as well, then you will be watching both. All right, so we have an ending to something here with the 8 of Swords. So this person is coming in to complete a cycle. This is why they're returning to you. So they know that the healing needed to be done. They look like they've done their healing. but looks like you have too. So if you've both done your healing here, there seems to be an energy of completing a cycle. Now this cycle can be that you needed to clear something else from your energy that was holding you back from having a healthy relationship. Now very often this can be energy that we've learned earlier in the piece. Like some people will say, oh, love should be so easy, we shouldn't have to work at it. Well, actually that's not true. Even a healthy relationship requires work. Or love should be so easy, it should just be something that just floats along nicely. Well, if you feel that you're never going to have disagreements and you're never going to come up against each other, again, you have an unrealistic view of relationships. Because even the best relationships have conflict. It's how the conflict is addressed that is really important here. So, you know, if you disagree on something, rather than yelling and screaming at each other about your own point of view, it's about sitting down and understanding the other person's point of view. It doesn't mean you have to change yours, but it's about seeing both perspectives. That's the hanged man energy. So what we're seeing here is a person who's coming in to tell you that they've healed, and they've healed a very negative part of themselves here, which you probably have too. So there is definitely a conversation. Oh, look at this, Ten of Swords twice. So this completion here is going to change everything. Yep, so you're looking at the future here now. Heavy, heavy energy here. So whatever happened between you and this person has done a whole load of healing as well. So you've raised something in this person that they've really understood, and they are acting very, very differently now. So this is a person you will hardly recognize when you come up against them again. But they want to talk to you about what happened, because I feel like this person has become enlightened and probably very, very spiritual in that changeover or handover. So this person wants to talk to you about the way they're feeling now. Now, whether or not this will then result in a relationship with someone, I'll have a look. But I'm feeling here that this conversation, this person wants to have this conversation, because they may need to offer you an apology, but I feel like a big thank you's coming here, because I feel like they have worked through some really important things here. Now, for some people, this may have been a cycle of abuse that happened in their family. I feel like there's some strong abuse energies here that this person was denying. It may have been stopping them from having a healthy relationship, but I feel like somehow or another the universe has sent you in to awaken them so they can deal with this childhood stuff that they've been holding on to for years. You may have been dealing with someone who had a heavy addiction problem, a codependency problem. They may have been quite difficult to deal with. Now, I do want to say at this point, if this person has in any way been violent, aggressive or abusive in a big way towards you, that if they do want to have this conversation, you may not want to have this conversation with them. But if you do want to have this conversation with them, it may be highly recommended that you have somebody else with you while you're having that conversation. Because for me, this is a person who's dealt with some really, really deep stuff here. I feel like this person is ready to walk towards the future now. We have the Four of Cups sitting here. So again, I'm not really sure you want to accept the offer, but you may want to accept the apology or the explanation. So we have the Eight of Pentacles coming here. So I feel like you invested in something that somebody has walked away from. There is a period of time here for healing because you've been left out in the cold. The star tells me you are healing. Somebody is coming in with some sort of explanation here. Nine of Cups, wishes coming true. Now, I want to say that although this person may not want to move forward, or you may not want to move forward with them, this Nine of Cups says to me that it's going to be really good to have the completion and the apology or whatever else this person is offering, because it's going to help you move forward as well. Now again, this doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship with this person, but it does mean that whatever needs to be sorted out here needs to come with a huge conversation. But I do see future focus. No, the Five of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, radio. Yeah, there is a brand new start here. But again, I'm feeling like here, this new start may come after feeling very disappointed. So you may still have some of this in your heart. The person may be still carrying some disappointment with them. This says to me that this situation is not completely healed though, because there's still some upset and disappointment about the past. So that needs to be healed, and maybe that can be healed through this conversation. So it is possible that you could be talking about why somebody left you behind. It may be that being left out in the cold, maybe this person needs to explain to you why they did that. But you should find your own closure. You don't need to wait for somebody to do that. There is a brand new start here though, but this one is built in a different way. This time you're building on some stability here with this Ace of Pentacles. What I do see is you taking a leap of faith, but you're letting your guard down here. You're standing up, putting good boundaries in place, and really talking about what you want in your future. For others of you here, this will allow you to move on and have a fresh new start yourself. But again, understanding in future situations and relationships, there's a real need for you here to set strong boundaries around yourself. Look for those red flags. Go into your relationships with both your head and your heart. Don't just sit in your heart space and feel the emotions and not see what's going on for you, because that is so important. You will miss vital red flags if you do that. All right, let's read you an oracle card here, Virgo. We are using the Lay Vampires deck for your oracle card here. All right, we have the Monster Within. It's very telling, isn't it? The Monster Within. This is about your shadow side, 25, and this is what you've both been dealing with here. So very relevant card coming in here. This is internal struggle, personal challenges, and wanting to improve. There is something we know more about than anyone can ever imagine. We are afraid never of the world, but our ability to destroy something tender and beautiful within an instant, because our very nature ensures we hunger for something that will kill us, those who we love, if we take it. This is a terrible dilemma. I'm just going to stop there for a moment. You know, some of you may need to read up on attachment disorder or attachment issues or abandonment issues, because what happens with that, sometimes we hurt others to get away, because if we hurt them, it means they can't hurt us. So it does become a little bit of push-pull energy, because our very nature ensures we hunger for something that will kill those we love if we take it. This is a terrible dilemma, for we are lovable and loving. We know how to draw close and how to be well and in control for many years. But at some time, in a moment of weakness, when defenses are down and we hunger and our humanity is far away, we may snap and our hunger may overrun the incredible control and balance we've had. We would never hurt you, and yet our urge to love you is tied up with our urge to have you. We must learn vast powers of discipline, and this is what can lead us to vanish from the lives of those we most care for. If you're receiving this card, it would seem you two are struggling with an aspect of yourself that you know can bring harm to another, but which is a natural part of you. You are wrestling the demons that lie within. So the blessings here is knowing our own faults and flaws can give us the tools to transform them into strengths. And this is a very big one in what I'm saying. Some of us have deep abandonment issues from our childhood, and they still play out in our love relationships. So sometimes when you fall into an energy of loving somebody so much, it is so scary that the only thing you feel you can do is to test that person's love for you, because you're not sure if you're feeling that by yourself. So what we tend to do is push away the very thing that we want, and we push it away in hope that it will love us enough to come back. Sometimes people don't come back, and that's okay. In this particular scenario, I feel like this person is coming back to explain their issues with you. Thank you, Virgo.